As the title of this video states, the Royal Tiger Carbine Double Down. About a couple weeks ago I bought one of these Vetterli 7087 TS carbines from Royal Tiger. And actually I was quite impressed with what I received. Okay, I did the video on it and I have fired this, and the bore is quite good. When it comes to collecting military surplus, okay, a lot of people criticize, and I paid $800 for this gun plus shipping, so it was over 800 bucks. I was happy with it, okay? And a lot of people, oh well, that's way too much money and all this other stuff, and well, you have to look at it. The TS's are quite rare, and what's even rarer than that would be one of those converted to 6.5 Carcano. I've only seen two come up on the gun broker, and that was like 6-7 years ago, and they went well in excess of $800 back then. Now they would probably top out at $1,000. Royal Tiger also has the long rifle versions, okay? Now the reason I'm going to cover this is, bear in mind, this here is a pretty decent example. I'd say it's about a $700 gun. Royal Tiger's guns are pretty well worn, questionable on the bore. The one guy, USNA 98, he didn't run his bore scope down to 10 millimeter he had, but I believe they're a bit overpriced at what they're asking, in excess of $500. You can get nice examples if you look around at auctions, this here, you know, for a little bit more money. About the only thing I could say about a Royal Tiger gun is if it has Ethiopian markings and has the stock stamp that it was used by the Italian colonial forces, that would be an extra plus for a collector, irregardless of condition. They would fit a hole in your collection if you're a collector. And then we have these here converted to the 6.5 Carcano. These guns are very common. They were never quite expensive. Right now, a real nice example is going for about $350. Okay, and I mean they had them at $350, then they dropped them to $299 or $245, and that. And see, that's another thing. They have this weird pricing. But then again, I think it was USNA. He bought one of each. He bought a 6.5 and he bought a 10 millimeter rifle. When he ran the bore scope down, it had this weird spot of rust in there. I have no idea. I mean, the bore looked really nice, except for one area down about here, which could lead to catastrophe. Okay. So, these guns are not that popular. They're not as collectible. Okay. And that's another thing, the fads. People look into, you know, what's popular or what people will pay a lot of money for. Now, when people give me crap about paying 800 bucks for that Vetterli, here we have a Finnish guard rifle. This is a M28, I believe. I did an extensive video on this. A bunch of these have come into the country. They were available on the Mosin crate, and they're available, I think, at Centerfire Systems. Centerfire Systems is about 800 bucks. Rounding off. They have varying prices. The Mosin crate, now granted the guns he had were pretty much in primo grade, but they went from 11 to 12 to almost $1,300. He had 60 of these rifles and they sold out in minutes. Okay, but I'll make a video and talk about his sales thing. A rifle like this, I did not pay $1,100, or if they had something similar, say $859. I didn't pay that for this. Would I pay that if I don't really collect these? I'll pick them up, like I did with this one, as an opportunity and research it and figure out about it. I do not actively seek to accumulate these rifles. Now, are people wrong for paying this for these rifles? No. I mean, if that's what you want, if that's what you collect, and you're happy paying that for that. Personally, I would not pay that much for a gun like this, okay? But that's my personal choice. I would pay $800 for that little weird carbine because it is quite rare. And I mean, these guns too, you don't run across them every day, all right, in the correct condition. So, you know, we can look at it as, well, Royal Tiger, my beef was, like I said, I'm happy with this gun. They only had like 9 of them in stock. So I'm happy with this gun. I got it for my personal collection. To me, it is a rare gun. To most people, you know, when you start breaking my rock saying, I hope you didn't pay more than $100 or $800 is way the hell too much for a gun like this. This type of weapon doesn't have the popularity or the desirability of it. There are people who do collect them, and there are people that, you know, will pay for them, okay, put them in their collection. That number of people is very few. It is not like a KAR-98. It is not like a Swiss rifle. Okay, Swiss rifles, everybody wants, and they're not that hard to find, but the price on them are going up to $800. You know, it used to be a $300 gun. Now, the price on any of the different models are $800 to $1,000, depending on condition. Okay? So, I paid a little over $8 for this. It is a rare gun. It is a difficult gun to add to your collection. A lot of people thought it was way overpriced. So what does the company do after I buy one? Within a week and a half, they drop the price on these guns, $300. They went from $800 to $500. And then they started selling and selling quick. Okay? So, what do? You get upset, sit there, Royal Tiger's mean and evil. Well, I would not do this with any other type of gun that they're selling. Okay? But this is a rare gun. And the condition this gun came in is far better than a lot of the other stuff they've had. Now, it's kind of like the Russian Carbines. They were cut down. They were like $500, but they were complete. They're functional. They may need a little bit of work and repair. They had some oddball screws and bits and pieces, kind of, and they had the stocks drilled out for this weird rope sling stuff. But Russian Carbines, and much like the Hobo Factory, he jumped on it because they all go for an in excess of $1,000 for the correct guns. And they are hard to find. And, you know, to find something, his whole thing was, oh, they go for well over $1,000, so $500, it's a buy, and he just buys it. And it wasn't a bad deal, okay? So Royal Tiger does have some things, but there are not a lot of people out there as compared to like an M1 Carbine, an M1 Garand, and all that other stuff. The demand for that is way higher, and more people are going to buy that and pay for it than they will for a Russian Carbine or an old gun like this. So, like I said, got caught in a lurch, and I was kind of wondering one of two things. Did Royal Tiger kind of like send me this gun because they knew I'm going to do a review? I've done some reviews, some of them kind of not very flattering for them. And I said, did they pick the best one out of the bunch and send it to me? So, in pondering this, this is where I decided I'm going to make 2 parts of the video. This is going to be part 1. And then we're going to do part 2 and a couple more, you know, as we go along, so they ain't that long. So, You could sit there and be angry and say, hey man, you know, they screwed me out of $300. Or you can look at it a little bit different. And like I said, with this particular model, and the fact that it's rare, okay, and you don't find them that easily. I mean, you can look around, but really, try finding one of these that's correct, which this gun is correct. This is not a cut-down rifle. This is a correct weapon. So what do? Much like when the stock market bones you and everyone else. You can sit there, whine about it, complain and cry, or you can man up and double down.